Hello.
Hello. So, are you finally out of the danger zone as far as the atmosphere and the smog? Did
The
Ann Arbor
smoke.
get, yeah.
We didn't
I
get
saw
it as
pictures from the
bad.
art fair. Okay.
The art fair was very hazy.
Mm.
Um, I, well, as you know, my son's girlfriend lives where you're hanging out this summer, and I think it was really bad there, just because you guys are right across the water from Canada.
It was dystopian.
Yeah,
It literally was dystopian. Like,
yeah,
do we go outside? You had to carve a path. It was just gross.
yeah. It was pretty
Mm.
bad here Thursday, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt, I mean, having lived in California and dealing with the fires there,
Mm.
I felt
Mm-hmm.
lucky that I had air conditioning because we didn't have that in California.
Really?
Um,
Which really is like the filtering, right? It's not
it's
just
the
the cool.
filtering, and then the fires tend to happen when there are heat waves. You know, they happen in the
Mm.
heat of the summer, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're in a house without air conditioning, um, you need your windows open for ventilation. But if it's smoky outside, like I just remember feeling trapped.
Yeah,
Um,
that's awful.
so yeah,
It was really
yeah,
awful. The room that I've been sleeping in has a window unit air conditioner, which means when it's not running, it's like having the screens open. Like
yeah,
it's just smelled like a campfire.
yeah,
And I would sleep. And then even when the air conditioner was running, I'd wake up in the morning with a headache because it's just like smoking cigarettes all night. Dystopian. Yeah.
yes.
So I'm glad
That
to be on this side of it. And so
mhm.
with that in mind, we're going to jump into toxicity on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we thought we're taking, I mean, I'm sure influencer marketing is going to come into it because it always does, and certainly that's the lens through which we often are on LinkedIn, but you and I were just chatting beforehand and we both kind of made the comment that we are not, oftentimes we get fodder for the podcast and get our something happens that catches our eye or pisses us off or whatever, and it's like easy to come up with these topics for the podcast. And you and I both noted that we are spending a lot less time on there recently
Yes.
because it's just feeling, it's, to say it nicely, it's not filling my bucket
Right.
lately, which is probably great for my screen time and mental health, not so great for
Yeah.
podcast topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Or biz dev, really,
True,
in some
true, true.
ways. Hmm.
But we thought we could take a little bit of a pivot. I don't know if we can solve the LinkedIn problem, but we thought we could take a pivot and just talk a little bit about what's kind of bugging us on there lately and maybe try to analyze
Yeah.
what's gone on, because I know you and I have gone through periods where we were spending a lot of time on there, and it was really feeling like a community for us,
Yes.
and now just feeling it's just feeling junky is the
Yeah.
word that
Right.
comes
Like
to my mind.
the past tense version of this was feeling both compelled to be there because it was so active, but also that there was a payoff to it. There was a pleasant, the biz dev piece, the community building piece, the being able to share ideas with other people in our industry and even beyond our industry. And now what is happening? The content itself is irritating. The the people that I'm being shown, it's not my community of people anymore. I have to
Mm-mm.
really search hard to find anything from them. And so that's what you're seeing. That's what's caused you to back off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's this interesting phenomenon with LinkedIn. You know, my marketing team and I are often try to figure out the best way to maximize the platform for biz dev and for driving leads and interest in Sway Group. And one of the things that, I mean, multiple people have talked about this. This is not anything new or rocket science, but comments oftentimes get
Mm,
way more impressions than original content
hmm.
on the platform. And it feels like digging for a needle in a haystack, to find any kind of post that even warrants the time to make a comment. It's just like stuff that's completely, I was looking through it this morning before we hopped on, and I was getting like some posts about this guy's health journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I got some post from a woman who was pissed about some media company that I never heard of, so I think it's maybe in another country, and pissed about the succession plan of that company that I never heard of. Like there's just like junky
So
stuff,
succession planning
unrelated
is not...
stuff. No, anger
That's
stuff.
weird.
Like it's just kind of this, it's almost like they said to the algorithm, like, please just show them stuff that they don't care about.
Right. Like, are they trying to benchmark what we do care about by just throwing us the worst matches to see what will... I mean, I'm the same way. I loved LinkedIn at one point. I still really like my community there, but I find myself endlessly like not immediately finding interesting topics. So that's one of the things I'm seeing in our industry in particular. There's a backlash, and that might be too strong a word, around the content that is supposed to be creator economy, influencer marketing. The people that I typically will gravitate toward are expressing anger, backlash, around how 101 influencer marketing content is right now. And why are we still talking about things that you and I and these other folks have solved since 2016, or at least acknowledged, and it's part of our workflow, it's part of our best practices. You and I touched on this a couple of weeks ago about the gentleman in a different adjacent industry who was like, wow, creators really do offer impact, and then proceeded to embrace it as though it were a new insight and tactic or strategy. And we're like, dude, you're discounting our 20, or collectively 40 years of experience. Please stop doing that. So there's some of that of like, oh, it's new, and shucks, isn't it weird when creators underperform? And then it's just this blanket statement. And you and I are like, we could dive into that and understand it's underperforming because you favored followers over fit, you overscripted the brief, and we're not seeing just these, I don't know, there's no nuanced conversations.
I mean, I know the topic of this podcast episode is LinkedIn. I think what you're talking about there, though, is actually something that's happening just overall in the marketing industry, because it's almost exactly what was annoying us about all the buzz coming out of Cannes.
Yeah.
It's suddenly suddenly, for whatever reason, influencer marketing has been deemed by the powers that be to have come into its moment. Its time is now. And it's like, okay, well, what is it? Let's dive in. Let's understand it. Like, that's exactly the stuff that was kind of pissing us off about Cannes.
Yeah, nothing super new, nothing edgy, nothing forward thinking, all just lagging indicators of the industry and things you and I have been talking about for a long time.
Yeah. It's almost like there needs to be like this, like a Cliff Notes for the people just now joining us in class. Here's a Cliff Notes for everything you've missed over the last 20 years. Please catch yourself up and don't waste our time.
Yeah. This is my big aha actually about the industry right now, is this last 3 to 5 years where it's become the darling of the marketing world. And along with that, I feel there's been this favoritism toward younger voices, Gen Z. You've talked about going into pitch meetings where you think you're really stylish and people are there in their pajamas. And you're like, what is going on here? The flip side to that feels to me often like there's a very shallow level of experience. When somebody says I've been in it for 5 years, I'm like, you know very little about this industry at 5 years in, simply because like there's no deference or callback to the blogger DNA in all of this, and the community building. When people say community building is the new thing, I'm like, it is not new. It is not new. It's not new. It's been
Yeah,
part of how we
it's
approached it for 20 years.
from day one. And looking at influencer marketing solely through the lens of the platforms that we have now, you end up like, even if platforms have evolved and there's so much more we can do now, that doesn't, those were built on the backs of other things. And so the learnings that came from the previous platforms and the older ways of doing influencer marketing, like, sure, maybe we're not going to engage someone to generate a blog post for us right now, because for that product it might be more beneficial to have a short form video or whatever it is. But the fact, there are still learnings that came out of that time that inform all of this today. And it's I don't know if this is like completely out of left field and not at all relevant, but you know how, like, when people are talking about management and leadership, there's this saying that, like, the best leaders hire people who are smarter than
Mm.
they are. And like,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be a really great leader of a company, you're not trying to do everything. You're bringing in the very best, and it's okay that you're not the smartest at it. And like, that's the mindset that I feel like is often missing now, and that you and I see on LinkedIn, and that probably frustrates us. Is that's I'm so thrilled that you know what that you're passionate about this, and that you're doing great work, and that you came into it. Not everyone can, by virtue of age, circumstance, whatever, not everyone is going to have 20 plus years experience. But I feel like at least have the wherewithal, similarly to hiring people who are smarter than you, to like doing the background research, to like finding out what came before, and why do we do this the way we do it. And what I just think, I sound so like very much like old lady get off my lawn right now, but I do think there's a benefit in understand. It's like why we study
Yeah.
history, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And even my own journey with influencer marketing, I was the narrow blinders on. This is the only way. This is the thing to do. And I've really understood over, especially in the last 5 years, how much, well, more than 5 years, but like how much influencer marketing is impacted by and needs to impact the other marketing disciplines within an organization. You and I have talked about this. If we know what PR is doing, if we know what the social team's goals are, if we help connect the dots in those ways. And that's a maturity, I think, that you develop, where you get out of the when you have a hammer, everything is a nail type of mentality. And that's not limited to just influencer marketing or creator economy stuff. But maybe what we're also seeing is LinkedIn just seems to be favoring or filled with the voices that are not honoring that there's been this longer trajectory. It is not the wild, wild west anymore. I think that stems from a wholly different place. I don't think it's the wild, wild west. We're having fantastic luck pitching programs and getting influencers onboarded at rates that we know we expect. Are there outliers? Sure. Do they have reasons that they're outliers? Sure. Do we work with them? We do not. So that's none of that
Yeah.
is chaotic or
It's not, you
surprising
can't
or
call
should
it,
be.
I don't know how anyone can call it the wild, wild west when companies are spending 7, 8 figures on it. Like, it just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
This is another topic that came up with our friend Jake Kitchener. You know that
Yep.
name, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He's been really into events lately, planning events, going to events. And he did this, and it's near and dear to my heart because I ran Nimbus last year. So I'm top of mind about how events are falling short and a little outdated. And so he did a nice piece about the 3 areas that he feels are underperforming for most events. One of them was the learning, and it resonated for me about how you and I have gone to event after event, marketing conference after marketing conference, and we've sat through. Brands can share case studies, no problem, but it's a rare brand that understands how to translate what they've done to action items for any other brand to try. And I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the function of influencer marketing is different from campaign to campaign, or if it's we're just all buying, like drinking the Kool-Aid, buying the bridge, whatever it is, and deciding that once we get invited to be on stage, it doesn't really matter if we have impact. We're just going to present our platform that we're working for. We're going to present the sponsor that we're working for. And it's not, there are very few of those conferences I've been to where I was like, oh, that was a great presentation. Like that made me change the way we're going to do business or how we approach any of this.
Yeah. I think that's
And
a
LinkedIn
whole
is filled
other
with that.
topic that we need to
Dive
tag
into.
for a future episode. It would be great.
But that's
to
what
just talk
LinkedIn
about
is these days, is people feel like I've got the spotlight. I'm going to hammer my own, like a POV without really bringing much that's going to change how I do things or make me think about how I'm doing things.
So kind of taking a step back from the influencer marketing specific stuff on LinkedIn, I got into it a bit last week with a former colleague of my husband's because he put up a post I had been seeing for a few months now that anytime there was anything political, I'll go ahead and say it, anything political on the side that I am on, I would see, you know how LinkedIn shows you people's comments, which I don't know how many people are aware. It seems to me, based on people's behavior, that a lot of people don't know that happens, but hey.
And I think it's being favored by LinkedIn more and more.
Alert. Yeah, we're seeing your activity. So I would just see him like saying like, this doesn't belong here. No politics on LinkedIn, just making comments about this stuff. And then I guess he got fed up with it and wrote a post last week that politics really has no place on LinkedIn and who stands with him and da 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 da. My perspective. Now, first of all, I think what he meant, what he was actually thinking was politics I don't agree with have no place on LinkedIn. But putting that aside, my response was I absolutely think politics has a place on LinkedIn. We have multiple clients whose businesses are impacted by politics today. I have a client who is losing $1 million every month for every 10 cents that gasoline goes up in price. That is a direct impact of politics. I have a client who had to discontinue an entire product because they can no longer afford one of the ingredients due to tariffs, and they would have had to increase the price so much that it would not have made sense to consumers. As a result, their numbers are falling short for 2026. That is a direct result of politics on business. When anything impacts business, I think when anything has an impact, it is important to business. If it's important to business, I think it has a place on
It belongs
LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Open for discussion. Yeah.
That's my feeling. I get these other posts, and I guess I'm trying to like take the devil's advocate thing. Like I got that post today. This guy was sharing his health. I don't even know who the heck he was. And he, 10 years ago, he decided he really had to take his health seriously. And now here's the before and after photo of his body, and he looks so great. And I get weird like protein maxing posts and fiber maxing posts.
Really?
And I mean, I guess
it depends on what they're selling. If those people are like now, are they trying to sell you a protein powder?
They're selling themselves as a thought leader. They're not selling protein powder or any of that. I guess if you can only be a great leader if you are great both personally and professionally. So maybe to give them the benefit of the doubt, is that what it is?
Or is LinkedIn rewarding these pivot stories, these I've gone from X now to Y. And
I think
it could
the
be money,
algorithm,
could be health.
those often have like a before and after photo that catches the eye. And I have this conversation all the time with my marketing teams, my head of strategy and our intern. We are a powerful and mighty marketing team. And we talk all the time about, I get frustrated. I can write this paragraph about something I feel strongly about, and it's well written, and I post it and it kind of falls flat. And then I take that same exact paragraph and I accompany it by a selfie of me looking annoyed or pensive or whatever. and it outperforms it by like many multiples.
Okay.
And I think it's embarrassing to post these. I don't like them, but
Right.
I
The algorithm rewards it.
keep thinking like I will find another way to get these words out there that people will see, and that because it's important to be a thought leader and get this stuff out on LinkedIn. And no matter how many times I try, no matter what I do, if I put the stupid fucking selfie with the paragraph of words, it performs multiples times better
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
it. And so I think that's why we're seeing some of this weird fiber maxing, protein maxing, man maxing
Right.
stuff, because it's accompanied by imagery that catches the eye in some way.
Yeah.
Like human beings, we see it in influencer marketing, right? Like a piece of content. That's why these short form videos talking to camera perform so well. Or like the one, like the Get Ready With Me, where people are talking about something while putting their makeup on. Like someone's face catches your eye.
Yeah. I am perplexed. I know that there's something going on behind the scenes at LinkedIn, and I don't mean like some conspiracy theory. I know that there's a point to it, and I know there's a way to maximize exposure and all that. But what you just shared, I feel like there was this window when you and I and thought leaders in different industries could become known for their thoughts and their avatar, and those two things would catch your eye and you'd be like, oh, I want to hear what this person has to say. And it didn't have to have the scroll stopping imagery. But in the last couple of years, especially the last 12 months, 18 months, it does feel more and more important to put an image. Now, I don't know what the A/B testing is. You kind of mentioned it, but have you ever put a different image that's not you and a selfie?
It's the two things that work. The selfie works, and then like social, like pop culture memes work. So like on the last season of White Lotus, I did this thing where every week I would do a post. I would grab a screenshot from that week's White Lotus, and I would post something about the business world or influencer marketing, and tie it to that like crazy expression that everyone remembered from that episode of White Lotus.
Right. And that's not necessarily evergreen.
But it's a face. It's not evergreen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for it's interesting. Like the White Lotus ones performed super well. Love Island, not as much. I did a Love Island one last week. And it performed better. Did not perform as well as some of the White Lotus ones. Performed better than a brilliant paragraph that I might have written with no image whatsoever.
Right. Which just like, what do people then want?
I think,
do they just want the happy image? Or
here's the thing. I don't think it has to do with what people want. Like if you ask people what they want, I think they would say like, I want to read something that's smart and interesting and makes me think. But the problem is that the algorithm doesn't show them that unless the algorithm has glommed onto the fact that this is all that picture of my face making a stupid expression is doing. Is tricking the algorithm because it's catching some people in their tracks. It's causing like just a little bit of a hesitation there. They stop.
That the algorithm
read it. They comment or they like. I mean, anything you read about LinkedIn, getting a comment on a piece of content within the first however many minutes does wonders for your post being seen. So it's not so much that people are saying like, I prefer your content more when it's accompanied by your face, which would be so weird. What's happening is they're not seeing it at all unless it's accompanied by my face because LinkedIn is not reading it as important enough. They're not distributing it. Like people don't even see it.
Well, and it makes me think that the solution somehow is more work on our part as the consumers on LinkedIn to find our people, seek them out, which is not really how a feed works anyway. That's a lot of work. And it brings me back full circle to this backlash around talking about influencer in our industry, influencer 101 things, and how certain voices that I'm hearing from advocate, let's 10 of us get in a room and talk about, like, is that what we've come to, that we have to take it off of LinkedIn to get any value? We have to, start a smaller, intimate, I don't know, because I don't want to work that hard on LinkedIn where I'm going. There are people I want to hear from, but if
Yeah.
they're not popping
I've
up in my
tried.
feed,
Do you do the do you
the
click
bell,
that bell thing? So you get, that doesn't even work half the time, I feel like.
not that
I
doesn't
have
work.
tried
And like,
adding people.
if you tag me, if other people tag me in their posts, I'm not seeing it. I don't know what happened to
Really?
that. I only see it if somebody likes or comments on your post that has a tag to me.
Interesting.
I'm missing probably a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
my settings
Yeah.
got messed up somewhere because I never set it up that way.
Well, I don't think
Yeah,
it's you.
I don't know that we're going to solve it, but LinkedIn is making it difficult for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
For sure.
if you're listening to this, and I'm going to put out a plea, if you're listening to this and you are similarly frustrated by LinkedIn, please navigate yourself to my LinkedIn, to Casey's LinkedIn. Find the post where we are promoting this episode 73, the year I was born,
Woo-woo.
a very good year. Navigate to episode 73 and comment and share why you are also feeling frustrated about LinkedIn. And let's help get some chatter going about this.
That's right. Down with the system. We can beat it.
Okay.
Good.
Well, more
Good to
next
chat.
week. More grousing next week.
More grousing. I like grousing. I think it's
Me
kind of
too.
fun.
Underrated.
I'll talk to you then.
Bye.